Hey YouTube, it is Saturday night and we're going to play a little bit of Phantasy Star Online. Now, we're not actually going to use this disc today. Nope. We are going to try and use the Eve's Patcher disc again. Now, maybe about a month ago, you might remember that I tried to use it and it was working really, really well. Unfortunately, somebody bursted into the game and it crashed. Now, I heard that that was something to be expected when somebody bursts into the game, but it doesn't really seem ideal for this patcher disk. So I looked into it further, and it appears as though maybe it had to do with my connection. So, why are we going to try it today? Well, rather than start the game up and show you some pickups, I'm just going to jump right into it. I got myself a broadband adapter. So I think I mentioned it last time that I ordered a broadband adapter, and this is new in box. The box is actually in excellent condition. Some of you that have a broadband adapter here in North America are probably familiar with the smaller blue box. They're probably looking at this and saying, like, that doesn't look like a broadband adapter. Well, it's actually because it's the Japanese version of the broadband adapter, the HIT 0401. The good thing about Dreamcast peripherals is that none of them are region locked. They are all region free. So you can use a North American broadband adapter. You can also use a Japanese broadband adapter on your North American Dreamcast. So I bought it. It was an excellent price. It came with everything you need to get started. The broadband adapter is actually already hooked up to my Dreamcast, which is why I do not have the modem in today. And I will not be using my DreamPi. Now, the DreamPi is still useful. I will not be getting rid of it. It is particularly good for the games that are not supported by the broadband adapter. So, anyways, what do we have in the box here? Well, if we open it up, we have this piece right here, and I actually didn't use this disc to start it up. Here is the Japanese broadband support disc. Now, all of the instructions are in Japanese, and it's essentially the passport, it's a broadband passport disc. It's essentially like a web browser. So you can use XDP. It will connect to the broadband adapter here to set it up. So you don't have to really worry about using this disc or having to worry about, looking through Japanese instructions if you do not speak the language like I don't. So this is great. I got it for a really decent price, especially nowadays. Like, they've shot up so much. And I had a bit of money in the PayPal kitty, so it worked out really, really well. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I already configured it, so I won't be going through that in this video. But I gave it a quick run the other day, and it worked flawlessly. Hopefully it'll work flawlessly with the Eve's disc. I haven't tried it with that yet. But let's get started and see what we can do. So let's put in our disc here and press power. And tonight we're going to enjoy a Rolling Rock Extra Pale Ale, made famous by the AVGN. Cheers. So the other thing I got, which is pretty cool, is you'll notice that I took out my Rumble Pack. So I ended up buying another Rumble Pack just because it looked cool. You're going to see it light up here and there during the game, but it is the Mad Catz Rumble Pack, and it actually has a light that goes off whenever the Rumble Pack goes off. It's pretty cool. I gave it a try, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just adds a little extra flair, I guess, to your game. So between that and the 4-time VMU, all of the original Sega Dreamcast peripherals are gone. So let's continue here. Yes, we all know. And there we go. It's loading up so quick. I love it. So hopefully we won't have an issue connecting. So it says online mode. Let's click it. Now, you may have recognized a different screen from before when we were going through DreamPi. That's because it said connecting via modem, right? So now we're connecting via the broadband adapter. So We won't see a few screens here. We just have to agree basically to the same terms and conditions. Not a big deal. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And here we go. So you're not going to see a dial. We're going to jump right to the server. I'm not going to bother making a video on how to configure the broadband adapter because PC Wizard has already made an excellent tutorial, the one that I followed, in order to configure your broadband adapter to connect to things like PSO and Quake and stuff like that. So again, not necessary for me to recreate what he's already done. So here we are, and it's like that. It's that quick. I love it. So let's see who's on Dreamcast Now. Okay, I guess it doesn't notice me on yet. Let's see if I refresh. Not quite yet. Oh, you know why? It's because I'm using my broadband adapter, so it probably won't show me on there because it wants to show me using the DreamPi. So that makes a lot of sense. So let's let people know in Dreamcast Talk that we're online. Wrong keyboard. Hello all. Just jumping into PSO. And there we go. So let's select a ship. Let's see what's going on here. Asilia, nobody. Vega, not too bad. Altamira, not too bad. Well, let's jump into Altamira because that's generally where we find our regular friends. And hopefully we won't have an issue with the game crashing. Jarrett. Oh, cool. Oh, Radia. I assume that name is taken from Final Fantasy II or Final Fantasy IV for you purists. Hey. Yeah, so far I'm really happy with it. I was mentioning on the Dreamcast Junkyard and Dreamcast Hub forums on Facebook that I recently acquired the broadband adapter, and I was surprised. It was actually a little bit of a point of contention. I had some people who maybe aren't familiar that I'm quite well versed in DreamPi and quite well versed in the games it supports, telling me that it was a waste of money because I can just use DreamPi and connect. This is true. As we've established, we've been playing these games for, well over a year now. But, oh, it's locked, eh? All right, well, let's get out of here because if nobody wants to, let's go to Vega, see if anybody's on there. Yeah, just saying that I was wasting my money because you can use the DreamPi and get the same result, but you're going to notice if you've been watching these videos for a while, particularly with PSO, that when we get into those big skirmishes, when there's lots of enemies on screen, it doesn't lag anymore. Or I shouldn't say lag. It doesn't frame drop anymore. Cool. Let's do this one. So it's really nice. Like everything's really, really smooth. Just because the information is traveling faster, so you don't have to worry about frame drops. But yeah, I'm really impressed with how it works. The broadband adapter is probably not for everybody. It's probably, sorry, just gonna get that box out of the way. I just realized it's actually covering a little bit of my screen. For a guy like me that plays PSO quite regularly, it's gonna be used enough that I don't feel like I'm wasting my money. But if you're a person that just wants to kind of experiment with what the online, yeah, hello everybody. Hey everyone, long time no see. I'm using my BBA today. Yeah, so like for somebody like me that plays quite a bit of Dreamcast online and will use it, it's, I guess, an investment. So the only downside is it does have the white shell, so it doesn't quite match with my black Dreamcast. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint it black, or maybe paint a You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it out of that. I'm going to put it into a modem shell and paint that black, actually. And that way it'll match a little bit better. I'm not going to wreck the original one. So yeah, that was a really excellent pickup. I'm really happy to have that. Okay, where is everybody? Uh-oh. Took the red pipe. Where is everyone? I think maybe this was the wrong pipe. Area map. Don't see anybody. Weird. All right, let's maybe go back. Okay, where's this? Cave 1. Okay, now I'm just losing myself here. Okay, let's see if we can go back to Pioneer, and then maybe we'll grab the next pipe out. So the loading screens are a little bit quicker, but they're not as quick as I would like. I'm just being selfish now. Just being greedy. So I did pick up a couple of other Dreamcast related things, and I think I'm going to save the big one for last. Just because a lot needs to be said about it. So we'll start off with the first fun thing that we picked up. Okay. Let's try this red pipe again. Cave 3. There we go. So I did not need this, but I was just scrolling through eBay, and the buy it now was $6 with $6 shipping, and I thought, when I stumble upon the thing I need, it's going to come in handy. And that's a complete in-box Act Labs Sega Dreamcast cartridge. What is it? Why do you need it? Well, it's for the Act Labs racing wheel, actually. Oh, cool. We're going right into a boss fight. All set. There we go. So what Act Labs did was they kind of made a generic racing wheel, which is actually really high quality. And it has a cartridge system at the back, so you can use it for PC, just need the proper cartridge. You can use it for Dreamcast, if you have the proper cartridge, N64, and PlayStation. The PlayStation adapters are fairly common. Here, let's just get out of here and use this. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, I'm dead already. Alright, Jesus, this is not good. Where did he go? I've got to get at least a shot in. So the Act Labs racing wheel is kind of expensive on the used market. It's not one of the cheap ones like I have, like the Mad Cats or the Age Tech, which is the one a lot of people have. Oh, let's get this guy out of here. It's one of those ones that not a lot of people, I think, know about. They either pass it by because they don't think they can use it, or they don't get it because they figure they can't get the adapter. So I've decided to sort of get ahead of myself a little bit and get the adapter before I actually get the wheel. Okay, am I going to be able to do this? Wow, this guy is brutal. Oh, I think we got him. Did we? Nope, he's still alive. So I have been looking online. A couple of them are going for about $150, and they're really interesting wheels because You can get just the standard wheel, which will work fine with most games. You can get the pedal system, which is probably ideal if you got a racing wheel, and you can get a stick shift as well. Most of these items are sold separately, and you have to kind of pick them up as you go along. So right now I'm just kind of like looking at different bids, seeing if I can find a complete system and not for an outrageous price, because I'm not, wow, this is terrible. Because I'm not going to spend, you know, $250 on a racing wheel. I don't play racing games nearly enough to justify that kind of expense. But they do look pretty cool. I don't think I got any XP for that. Fuck. Because I died. I don't think I tagged them the last time I died. Damn. No XP. All right. Well, it is what it is. All right, let's get out of here. So yeah, that was a really fun pickup. It's going to come in quite useful at some point. I'm in absolutely no rush to complete it, but the hard part, I think, is done, getting this proper adapter. So maybe I should get into the thing that I picked up that had the most hype behind it. So about a year ago, a little company out of Turkey that makes Dreamcast peripherals called the Baharis Brothers announced that they were going to make a new box. Now, they are known for making, mostly famous for the Hanzo and the Toro box, and those are VGA boxes for your Dreamcast, and they're really high quality, and they offer a couple of extra little bells and whistles, such as a scanline creator, and the build quality is supposed to be good, and some people say the image is better too, although I don't think anybody's been able to confirm that one way or the other. They look pretty, but they're also very expensive. I have a Hayes box, and I have a Retrobit box, and I have never noticed a difference in the quality. All the VGA signals seem to be fairly similar. So, when they announced that they were going to make an HDMI box, I was quite excited, as were a lot of people. But I did have a few questions. And unfortunately, they kind of lied, actually, to be honest. When the questions were answered, my big concern was regarding scaling and resolution. So the big issue is that this box they're selling is not a upscaler. It is a transcoder. So the difference with the big thing is that an upscaler will take the information and it will convert it to a resolution that's appropriate for high definition or whatever. Now I use the Atlona HD 500, and it can create all sorts of crazy resolutions. It's very, 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 very useful for people like that might be doing like presentations and using different kinds of, I don't know, like projectors and stuff like that. And it responds really well to gaming. It's been what I've been using for the last little while. So I pre-ordered it because I was really excited. Here it is. I'm not using it. I'll tell you why in a second. So I pre-ordered it because they assured that even though it's a transcoder, which is basically an HDMI pass-through, it's got the VGA signal and it passes it through to HDMI. It doesn't take the information and process it to make it adjust your screen properly. And that's very apparent when you plug this thing in. You can get the same effect by getting a cheap eBay VGA cable, putting it into one of those cheap little transcoder boxes, and see exactly what I mean. So basically what happens is it doesn't scale properly to the screen. You're always going to have this annoying black box to the side. All of the information is probably going to hang out in the far right corner, all of the picture information. Jesus, this is tough. And it's not going to be centered properly, and it's going to be stretched. So your other option is, if you have the setting on your television to make it 4:3, it'll do that, but it's going to compress the total image on the screen, which means that you're going to have that little black bar compressed to the side as well. So when they were making this product, I brought that up. I said, it's transcoding the information. It's not upscaling it. Is this going to be corrected? And they said yes. As of the time of this recording of this video, it has not been corrected. And I don't see how it possibly could, because this is a piece of hardware. This isn't a piece of software. You can't upgrade it. It's done. Then they try to upsell you by saying that it has a scanline generator built into it, which doesn't look bad, but all it is a mask. So anybody that uses any kind of video editing software and music software is probably familiar with what a bus is for sending effects information and what a mask is. So a bus sends the data, like let's say the video data, through the effect. A bus, it travels. When you mask something, you're basically layering the effect over top of the information. Nice. Yep. And that is very obvious when you pick up the Hanzo, that it's not running the information through the scan line generator. It's simply putting like an Adobe After Effect or a VST effect from like Vegas over top of it. Cool. Let's do it. So it doesn't look great. You can adjust the thickness of the scan lines, which is a nice feature. You can also switch it from VGA to RGB. Now I've played around with that feature and I haven't noticed any difference. So yeah, other than those two little options, well, there's actually one other feature that's kind of nice. So on the front, you'll see an audio out jack, similar to a VGA box using the 1/8" jack, but it'll also transfer the audio data over HDMI, which is a really nice feature because it's creating a clean audio signal. That said, I've never noticed a big problem with having the audio over an 1/8" jack. But the big problem is because it doesn't transcode the data properly, you can't use the Elgato to capture the information because it's not a true 480p signal. The Elgato doesn't recognize it. So that is a big problem for me. Like, I can't use it in this setup. I could use it in my basement, I suppose, but I was really excited to use it up here. So this box, for how much they promoted it and how much they assured the people that pre-ordered it was going to, sort of, they assured us that it wasn't going to have the problems that it does have. And it's quite expensive. It's $85 American shipped. And I'll be honest, like, I don't even really like the build quality. Like, if you look at it, this cable is kind of nice. It's really firm. It's open. You can see right through it. I guess that's kind of a cool little artistic aesthetic. But over time, I don't care how clean your place is, that's going to get filled up with garbage. It always does. Dust and like you know when you have equipment that's been dusty for a while and just the natural moisture from the air ends up making the dust kind of stick like a film? That's what's going to happen in that box. There's no way around it. There was a lot of people that received the box ahead of time in the community to review it. They all gave very positive reviews, and some of them were actually able to capture over it using a different capture card. I don't know what that was, but Elgato is a very popular capture card. It doesn't make sense that it wouldn't work with the Elgato. Besides the point. Uh-oh, what's going on? So is everybody leaving? Is everyone leaving? Oh, well, there you go. I guess we're all done. Okay, no big deal. So yeah, it's a big problem. This box definitely did not deliver what it said it was going to deliver. It's quite expensive. It's not like the picture quality is not very good. The only other thing I could say about it that's cool is the fact that it's a passive box, so you don't have to actually add power to it. It just takes the power from the power pin on the Dreamcast audio video output. So I mean, that's a cool feature that you don't have to use an extra power supply like I have to do with the Atlona, but it's not enough to make it worth your money. If I'm going to give a review, but I'm going to try and make a more thorough review. This is kind of like just the off the cuff sort of review that I'm making right now. I'm going to tell you right now, don't get it. It's totally not worth it. You're going to be disappointed. It's if you want good resolution from your Dreamcast, there are a number of different ways you can get it. You can get a VGA box, which is always handy. I have two of them, like I said. You can get a VGA cable, which, you know, they vary in quality, but they're not too bad. You can get those for $10 or a little bit more sometimes. And you can also get comparable upscalers. So I use the Atlona HD 500, which is kind of the Cadillac of upscalers, but you can also get cheaper ones. Now I can't remember the name of the one that is most popular, because basically it's one of those ones that's made in China and a number of different companies buy it in bulk, and then they put their own marquee on it and sell it as a different brand, but they're all essentially the same. And you can get a really decent VGA to HDMI upscaler for about $50, I think that's how much it goes for right now. If I find out from the forums, I'll post a link in the video, but I'm just letting you know there's better ways to get decent video quality from your Dreamcast. You don't need to get this box. I cannot tell you, like, I cannot say any, like, this is not worth your money. I can't say it's a good product. It is not a good product. And I'm really disappointed too, because this is the first time I've ever purchased from that company. I was tempted to get a Hanzo, because I've heard so much about it, but obviously, you know, my opinion of this company is completely tarnished. Like, they really disappointed me with this latest product. Let's just see if we're doing a quest. And the part that bothers me is I really try to support the homebrew community, and I buy a lot of homebrew games. This is the first homebrew peripheral I bought. I knew it was a little bit more expensive than I would have liked to spend, but it seemed like a cool kind of idea. And, you know, it really bothers me when stuff like this comes out and it doesn't work as intended, because not only is it sort of exploiting the Dreamcast community, but it also makes people more apprehensive about supporting these independent products in the future. And that's kind of where I'm at. This is not the first time I've supported an independent product and it hasn't developed. I'm going to get into a little bit more of that later. But, okay, cool, we got another person. But, you know, I'm going to try and stay optimistic and continue exploring what other people are making and see if it's something that I can use. I'm also not going to pre-order anything anymore, or I'm not going to support anything on a Kickstarter. I'm going to wait for the product to come out, and then I'm going to make my decision after I see some reviews, because quite frankly, I can't afford to be spending money on this stuff if it's not useful to me. And this is not useful to me. It's not a good product at all. You got something against droids? So, anyways, I can't really say much more about it. It is what it is. I know a number of people pre-ordered it. I've spoken with a few folks so far. There's going to be a couple of comprehensive reviews of the product coming out in the near future. And basically the rumblings from the community, is that they're overall not satisfied with it. Let's just leave it that way. So, enough with that product. Moving on, like what I was saying before. Elysian Shadows, no new developments from that in months. I assume that they've forgotten about it because on their YouTube channel, they seem to be promoting a new VMU MP3 player with LCD screen. Who the fuck cares? The VMU is fine. We don't need one that's a MP3 player. What we do need is you to finish that game that you've made, that you promised people you'd have, like, what, 2 years ago? Finish that game. Don't work on these other products. I just get frustrated when I see people not committing to what they've promised, especially when they've taken other people's money. It really pisses me off. Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess we'll try that quest. But I did get an update from Slave recently, which is kind of good. So Slave recently posted something on their YouTube channel, and it appears as though their game is working on Dreamcast hardware, not PC. There's still a few bugs, but it functions, you know, and that's half the battle. All right, let's read this quick before I start talking about Slave. I'm a lieutenant in the 32nd Works Division of the Pioneer 2 Outer Space Task Force. Pioneer 2's army is ill-equipped, so we ask hunters to help out. I received the Council's order to go to Rigol and do some research. So I want your help. Sweep the underground cave of monsters before I send my unit. The mission will start in 12 minutes. Finish your duties before the mission starts. I admit that our soldiers are too weak. Good luck. Okay. Oh shit, we're already... I guess because they started the quest? God damn it. Alright, let's do this. So yeah, Slave. So Slave seems to be moving forward, which I'm very happy about. That looks like a really fun game. Elysian Shadows, if it ever does come out, looks like it's going to be a great game as well. But at this point, I'm fairly confident that... Why am I doing this? I'm fairly confident that it's not going to come out for quite some time, if at all. Trying again to be very optimistic, but it's challenging, to say the least, to stay optimistic in this gaming environment when so many titles have either not come through, either because their Kickstarters didn't pull through, or you know, they've canceled it, or they've just stopped responding to the community. So it's good that some positive news is coming out. Okay, let's try this again. All right, so we got this. We got this all mopped up. Let's go over here. Get some XP. Fuck off. Wow. All right, let's try to stay focused here for a couple of seconds at least. Right on. Okay, so I think what happens here is it's one of those quests where you just gain time based on how quickly you can clear out rooms. And the actual idea is, I assume the end room is going to have quite a few monsters, and it's going to be quite challenging. We're going to be right down to the last second. Okay, HP material, I can definitely use that. What do we got? That. Nope, nope. Okay, let's get out of here. It is the one thing I don't like about these launchers is that they have such a long recoil time. Yeah, so I mean, beyond that, I try not to be so pessimistic about the Dreamcast community, because it is an excellent community. There's a lot of excellent indie products out there. It's just sometimes things like this happen and it really dissuades you from participating as actively in the community as I try to. That said, I'd like to thank my new Patreon for supporting me. If you're listening, watching, yeah, set up a time. Let's do some gaming. Hopefully you're online. Hopefully, you know, you've played PSO, or maybe you're into some other games, and let's get something started. It sounds like fun. I think a couple weeks ago I said that I was thinking about shutting down the Patreon, but I decided that maybe I'll leave it up, and because I guess it's really not hurting anything to just leave it up and see what happens. But I'm kind of new to all this thing too, so I don't exactly know the best route to promoting it. Get out of here. Okay, so right away, you'll probably notice that there's little to no frame dropping. Before, when we used to play this game, it would drop quite frequently. And it was pretty frustrating, you know, like sometimes you'd be in the middle of a quest and you couldn't get a shot out because there'd be just so many monsters on the screen that the poor little Dreamcast couldn't handle it, and you'd just be stuck watching like one little frame at a time tick by. Plus 90 seconds. Cool. Thanks. All right, what did I do? Only 98 left to go. Yep, that should take me to 2019. All right, anything we can use here? Monomates? Nope, nope, nope. All right, just for curiosity's sake, let's see who's on Dreamcast Now. And there are 2 players. Okay, where to? I guess we go through this. Alright, I'm fairly confident these people know the map better than I do. So let's just trust them. Whoops, what's wrong with our friend here? Hopefully they can figure it out. Okay. Oh, there they are. Wonder what happened there. See, that is lag. Okay. Now we got this under control. So yeah, beyond that, I mean, like I said, staying optimistic about the whole Dreamcast community and all that kind of stuff. I've been working a lot lately, so it's really been kind of impacting my ability to jump online, which isn't the end of the world, you know, life and games and stuff, but it'd be nice to get a couple more hours in the evening and just kind of clear my head. I think part of the problem is that I don't have any real pick up and play games. Everything's like open world RPGs and stuff like that, so you know, if I get off of work at like, let's say 11, make it home by about 12, I don't necessarily want to invest, you know, 2 to 3 hours playing an open world RPG. I think I'd rather just have a little pick up and play game and you know, spend 30 minutes on that and just kind of ease out the night. So again, first world problems, but I did go to a couple of cool yard sales today, and a lot of the stuff I picked up is not worth showing or bragging about. It's all old man stuff that probably nobody cares about. Like I got a Sawzall for $40, an industrial bun coffee maker for $5. Stupid shit. But I did get some fun movies. I found a copy of Blue Underground, which is a label I love. Their unrated version of Scum, which is a BBC television film, actually. Never seen it, but I've heard really good things about it. It's got Ray Winstone in it, and it's supposed to be pretty wild, so I'm kind of excited about finding a copy of that. I only paid $25 for it, so you know, it's a pretty cheap investment, and if it's not a good movie, I'm sure I can find something. I'm sure I can sell it or something like that. Where are we going here? But the other one that I got that I was really shocked about, and it's actually pushing me in the direction to buy a region-free Blu-ray player, is this one right here. Now, you may not have heard of it, you may have heard of it. It's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and that is another BBC television show. Came out early 2000s, and I can remember this is probably before the days of, or maybe it was like right in the heart of torrenting for me. I can't remember. I think I started torrenting around, yeah, probably around 2006, 2007. Before that, I was using a lot more of those like peer-to-peer programs, like what were some of the big popular ones back then? I can't even remember. But oh, we got a little bit of frame dropping there. Not too bad though. I think I might have to take a quick break to address some house issues, but I'll be back very shortly. So let me take care of this first. But if you haven't seen it, download it. I think you can actually watch all the episodes on YouTube. It is hilarious. It's basically a satire of those shows in the 80s, like Twilight Zone and stuff like that. Like, well, maybe not so much Twilight Zone, but like dramas about spooky places. Like, what would be an example? Like maybe Picket Fences or something like that. Anyways, it's hilarious. It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff about this author, Garth Marenghi, who was a horror writer who decided that his horror movies needed to be adapted to television, and he ended up making his own horror series, and it's terrible, but he thinks it's brilliant. Okay, I gotta jet for 1 second, guys. BRB, sorry. Okay, be back in 1 second. Okay, mission complete. Great. Couldn't have done without me, guys. Oh, man. Alright, let's just telepipe out of here. Use. Perfect. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about today is quite an interesting announcement. So Atari is going to be presenting something at E3 this year. And apparently it may be another console. We're not talking like, wow. We're not talking like a like an at-games sort of all-in-one console. Apparently Atari is getting back into the video game business, and they are going to make a new game system. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than that. That's amazing. Ooh, I got more photon points. I'm gonna get a couple more, and I'm probably gonna end up changing the stats on one of my weapons. Okay, let's go back to the lobby and see who's hanging around there. Then, oh, it looks like everybody's out and about. Okay, well, organized team, join team, droids only. Looks like fun, but I think I'm gonna have to actually jet for tonight. I got a couple of things that I gotta take care of in the homestead. So, sorry for a short game, folks, but I hope everybody found some of my insight on this box interesting. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, guys. I do not like it. But it's good that I took the hit, and then at least you guys know. You can buy it, make a decision for yourself, but like I said, I'm really not impressed with it. So, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'd like to thank everybody who's decided to help me out in supporting the channel. This allows me the opportunity to, well, at the moment, I'll be honest, I'm really not generating enough revenue to buy the things I'm buying, but I am getting them through some various other means, mostly with just flipping stuff on eBay and stuff like that. But the AdSense revenue that I'm kind of getting from YouTube, and hopefully with more donor support, it's going to allow me the opportunity to buy things like the Hanzo box or whatever new things come out, and hopefully give it a bit more of a review. Now I'm going to go over the Akura. I'm going to go over the Akura quite thoroughly because it ticks me off so much that they released this with all the bugs that I knew it was going to have. So look for that in the near future. I'm also talking with a couple of other people that purchased it as well. And we might collaborate on a joint review and just kind of go over some of our complaints and grievances. But anyways, I will talk to everybody soon. I hope everybody's doing wonderful. And hopefully the next time we see each other, things will be a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more positive. Just leave it at that. All right. Anyways, take care.